Hi everyone, Aquarian Humanitarian here. Today we will continue our dialogue. I am super grateful and excited because we get to sit with Sir Tato Malay again, and he has so much wisdom to share with us. This time it is about 20 qualities of a Kamalayan learner. What is Kamalayan again? It means consciousness. So with that said, I want to welcome and introduce Sir Tato Malay this afternoon. Sir
Hello, good afternoon,
Tato,
Jane, and
thank you for being here.
thank you for inviting me again. I'm happy to be able to share whatever I can share to our or to your listeners as well. So,
Wonderful. So
okay,
today we were going to talk about the 20 qualities of a Kamalayan learner, like I mentioned. So why don't you share with us all 20, and then we'll tackle each one at a
yes.
time. Okay?
So at least you will have a bird's eye view of the 20 qualities. Well, I wrote these 20 qualities in my book, Lessons I Never Learned in School. So this is my
Mm,
so I was able to really I mean come up with 20 of those qualities that are very important for someone who is seriously intending to become a Kamalayan learner, to embody all these qualities so that his life or her life would really be able to live to that utmost I would say expectations of what we really are meant to be in this particular lifetime. Okay, so the first quality of a Kamalayan learner has a vision of a new world. The second quality is a Kamalayan learner transforms. The third one is a Kamalayan learner is concerned with the inner self. Fourth, a Kamalayan learner is proactive. The fifth one is a Kamalayan learner is not judgmental. Wow, not judgmental. Yeah. The sixth one is a Kamalayan learner. A Kamalayan learner understands the principle or the principles of being human and divine. Okay, can we just stop it for a while because I have to answer the phone at this
no
point of time.
problem.
Okay, so to continue, number six, a Kamalayan learner understands the principles of being human and divine. Number seven, a Kamalayan learner sees perfection. Number eight, a Kamalayan learner inspires. Number nine, a Kamalayan learner understands relationships and promotes oneness. Number
Okay.
10, Kamalayan learner is passionate. 11, a Kamalayan learner is creative. Number 12, a Kamalayan learner always embraces change. Number 13, a Kamalayan learner points out the uniqueness of in individuals. I'll repeat that. The Kamalayan learner points out the uniqueness in individuals. 14, a Kamalayan learner listens to his inner voice. 15, a Kamalayan learner dreams big. Number 16, a Kamalayan learner serves others. Number 17, a Kamalayan learner emphasizes balance. 18, a Kamalayan learner lives in the now. 19, a Kamalayan learner is courageous. 20, a Kamalayan learner never stops learning. Those are the 20 qualities of a Kamalayan learner. And that
Wow.
brings, we've been having our Kamalayan Cafe sessions, and I've never discussed these qualities of Kamalayan, of what a Kamalayan learner should be like, because I would really be able to, I would really see the hardship or the problems that we are going to encounter when I actually would emphasize this to these people that, I mean, for those, especially those who are attending for the first time, because basically many of these things are not easy to achieve or to acquire, but they have to really learn about it. So let's start with the first one.
Yes, let's do
A
that.
Kamalayan learner has a vision of a Kamalayan learner has a vision of a new world. So exactly, many of us now are aware of that. When I wrote my book, that was something like 15 years ago, or yeah, 14 years ago, I already knew that we were going to really have a shift in consciousness and a shift in a shift of the earth in terms of its splitting. So I already knew about that, but people really couldn't understand what I was telling them. And so now I think it's more, I would say, easy to understand because there have been a lot of videos that have come out in YouTube, especially about
Mhm.
the splitting of the earth. And well, exactly what is it really that we want to emphasize here in terms of the Kamalayan learner sees a new vision of a new world. Where is this new world available or being, I would say, where is it really going to be in place? Because a lot of people are looking at the external things or at the outer reality, but the inner world is the more important thing that we need to understand. In other words, all right, we live. All right, we go back to the very basic first. You and I are two individuals, two different individuals. We live in two different worlds, although we live here on in the same planet, on the same planet, but we have different ways of looking at our planet. Most of the
Mhm.
time we're together, but still, even when we're together, we don't see things the way I see it and the way you see it. Definitely, there are very I would say contrasting things that we get to notice, which I will not notice, but you will notice. So that's exactly how we see our world at this point in time. But are we aware that we have different worlds? Because one thing that we notice is that when we get to really mingle with people, especially with relatives, uh, what we do is we make pakialam about the life of the other person. In other words, I mean, we want that other person to live his life according to the kind of life that we're living as well. So
Yeah.
that's where our problem lies right now.
Yep.
We are not able to see things differently from each other. We want them to actually see it according to how we see everything, according to ourselves. And so that's a very big problem. That's exactly why we have wars right now, why we have violence, why we have
Mhm.
all these conflicts, because we don't agree with the kind of worlds that we actually live in. So two different worlds. And if you have another person, that's another world. So three different worlds. Then. So if you have 50
Correct.
people, you have 50 different worlds altogether. All right. So that's
Yeah.
the personal world that we are in. And exactly that's the only world that we are in individually. I don't know whatever you're experiencing in your own world. I don't care really. I mean, that's your
Mhm.
life. So I don't
Mhm.
have to, call you up and say, oh, what's going on in your life? Oh, how are you? So I don't
Mhm.
need to really follow you up because you are in charge of your own world. And I
Correct.
think exactly what people have to understand.
Yep.
So from there, all right, we have evolved already. Now, we are now going to look at the collective world. But how is this collective world really being seen?
Mm-hmm.
And so we all now see what's going on in the Philippines because we live in the Philippines. Now we live in Manila. So whatever is going on in Manila, that is where our awareness is. And so
Mm-hmm.
somehow we get to have a clue as to what we can really now share with one another. Or did you see exactly what happened on the television? Did you see? Did you see? So people react according to an accident or whatever. But again, if you will notice, if there is an accident, try to look, try to talk to the people who were exactly there at the same time when the accident happened. You will get, for example, if there are three people, you will get three versions of what or how the accident happened. It's never going to be unanimous in terms of how they perceived everything. So
Correct.
when you look at it from a different angle, that means it's a different story already that you're now sharing. And it's exactly how we create our world. We create our own stories, our own concepts about how we see it, how we see our life. So people have to understand this. Otherwise, we'll really just, hate each other because we would see everyone else not agreeing to what we actually would want them to see. So from there, I think that's exactly why I need to really explain this in detail. So again, now we're seeing a collective consciousness on maybe what exactly is going on in the government in terms of the corruption. So people now are having a kind of, I would say, this anger, this collective hate that we are now experiencing or condemnation in terms of how they perceive these things that are now going on. And with that, this is another problem where we can really now really can see why we are not able to move to a higher level of consciousness because we are angry, we are mad, and that
Mm-hmm.
is in the lower level of consciousness. If
Yep.
you're really in that kind of an emotion, that means you're not on a higher level. And so if you're on a lower level, what will you attract? A lot of disappointments, a lot of problems, a lot of conflict. And this is exactly what's going on right now. So we need to really make people be aware of how this thing works, really. I mean, in terms of who we are. That's why if people really don't know who they are, they would think that they're all the same. They're not. And that's what exactly they want. You want to belong, you belong to a certain religion, you have to agree that we are all going to believe in all these things that we are going to teach you. So basically, that's exactly what's going on now. So if you have different churches, different religions, you have different beliefs. And when we see them meet each other in terms of gatherings, and they actually come from all this, I would say, different points of view. I mean, a lot of conflicts again would arise, and that's how exactly why we need to really understand Kamalayan, why we need to explain to people that, hey, you know, this is exactly what's going on in your world. So that's exactly the basic thing that I normally where I start explaining about a new vision. Why do we need a new vision? Because our old world of who we are at this moment, my old world about myself. Why am I living this way? Am I happy with my world? That's one question we need to answer. Are you happy with your own world? So if you understand this question, you will now ask yourself, what am I doing now that makes me happy? Or what am I doing that makes me unhappy? So again, it's my world. That's why we are supposed to be concerned with our inner world. first before we really go out. And actually, there's nothing outside. It's all inside. My what I create in my world is what I create outside. In other words, you now being in front of me in a on a phone on a Zoom camera, I mean on a Zoom meeting, actually I created you in terms of who I am. Everything that I get to experience in my outer, I experience it first in my inner. And so what I'm saying here is I am the one creating my world, which would include you at this moment in time. So you are in my world right now. So exactly, we have to we have to understand that as I would say, it's a principle. Basically, we start with our own words first. We create everything according to what we see in our inner world. So if you don't like what we see, that means there's something that we need to evaluate and change inside us or what we believe in. So that's where the start of a new world would now come in. When you are aware now that you are not happy with your old world or your present world, that's exactly where we now get to change some things in our life. So by changing some scenarios or some beliefs, maybe you will see a different world. But again, to be more complex about it, every moment, this is one thing that people don't know. Every second, every thought that comes in, we actually move to a different world. So we always have different parallel worlds in existence in our own worlds at this particular time. So we don't actually stick it out in one particular place. The moment we change our mind, our world changes again. So practically, this is what people need to understand, that we are our own world. We are the world, or I am the world, my world. But again, when you say we are the world, well, that's another story. But again, we have to first concentrate on our individual worlds. But as I've said, every thought that you make, every emotion that you feel would change your world from a different world a moment ago. Kanina masaya ka, ngayon hindi. So what does that mean? Where are you now? What are you now seeing in your world? So this is our kingdom. In other words, what are we doing inside our kingdom? Are we making it really a kingdom? Because if you say it's a kingdom, that means you have everything. But if you have something that's lacking there, why will you call it a kingdom? Normally, a kingdom is I would say extravagant, luxurious. Um, I would say uh, you have everything there. Now, if you are now living in that kingdom, you're supposed to be happy because you have everything. But if you are unhappy because you have or you are experiencing a lack or a lot of lack, that means you are not living in that kingdom at this moment in time. So in your world, you're not anymore. You're not exactly in that kind of a conscious of life that we're supposed to live in terms of what Jesus had mentioned, that the kingdom of God is at hand and heaven is here on earth. And so if you're now experiencing all these negative things, your individual world is not heavenly at the moment. So, yun, lalalim na tayo. So, if you have questions, let me know. If you want to suggest anything, or if you want to say something at this point in time, because I don't know where I'm going to take you here, because basically this is so expansive in terms of how I can explain it. So I might confuse a lot of people That's why maybe if you will guide me as to maybe if I focus first on some things that many might not understand as to what I'm trying to refer to, please say it. No,
Okay.
so at least I won't get to really make people be, I would say, confused.
Okay.
So,
I
okay, to
made a
continue.
wait,
So
Kuya
our
Tats.
our world is our only concern.
Wait,
What am I doing?
wait 1 second.
Yes.
Okay, because I wanted to before you continue to point two, I want to add something on point one to make it clear for the viewer. So you talk about New World, right? Um, these things that you're teaching are not, we don't learn this from church. We don't learn this from school. That's why he created this book 15 years ago and lay out all these things for us. So what I want the viewer to take on what he said is that your inner world, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Okay. So that's very important. So if you're not happy with what you're seeing with the world that you created, then you have to take the time and reflect on what is it that you need to change in your inner world. And I want you to remember mirror. Okay. Mirror. What is mirror? Look in the mirror. What are you
Yeah.
seeing in the mirror? Because whatever it is that you're doing is reflecting whatever it is that's happening in your inner world. That's just a reflection of your outer world. That's, like the hermetics, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. That's exactly what this is. So a lot of times what we're doing is we're focusing on changing people around us. Let's change our partner, let's change our parents, let's change our kids. But no, we cannot change them, and don't even try to control them, because that's where you suffer. When you try to control things that you don't have any control over, that's how you suffer. So
Yeah.
in Vipassana, we are taught to work on ourselves, just focus on us. Because if we change ourselves, if we change the way we think, then our reality will change as well. But we don't. We never, we don't. We never try to change. I know our partner, our parents, our kids. No, that's not the teaching. We are focused on us, because the only person that can control us is us.
Right.
No one else can change us but us. But you have to first make a decision that you want to change your reality. And that's not gonna take, just a snap of a finger. That takes time, because we had so much preconditioning. We're so indoctrinated with so much beliefs that are not really good for us. So that's why we're here. We're trying to, teach you these things, this knowledge that we learn, not from church, not from school, through our, life experiences, our life journey, our spiritual awakening, going through the dark night of the soul. That's how we ended up where we end up now, because we had to learn, we had to figure out, okay, this cannot be our reality. There's got to be something better than this. All right. So that's the point that's the one point that I noted on number one. And then yeah, so that's it. You can move forward with point number two, Kuya.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. So this is really very helpful to those who really are, you know, trying to make their adjustments in terms of, well, their mental health. I mean, because a lot of people really feel depressed because they think that their world is like that and they cannot do anything about it. And so here we are trying to tell, we're going to tell them that, there is a way and you are the key. You're the only one who can really change whatever there is inside you. So people need to really understand that they are the only ones who can really now decide or choose which kind of world they want to have, a happy one or a depressing one. So people, when they are feeling depressed, they stay long on that in that particular emotion or a particular condition because somehow they think they don't have a choice. Actually, they have choices. That's what we try to always explain here.
Mhm.
Every moment you have a choice. You can always change whatever at every moment. So now we are still concerned about our present world, and as we see the world that we are expressing outside, we are able now to really, uh, I would say, adapt to the outer world as to how everything else is actually appearing in terms of what we see uh, in, 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 in media, in the media, or outside in terms of our workplace or in the classroom, our friends. So practically, when we go out to really get to meet other people, this is already the time when we open our world to a lot of other things. Again, as I've said, I want to remind everyone, we are the ones creating everything that appears in our world. In other words, the people that we get to meet, we were the ones who thought of them. That's why they appeared in your uh, life right now. We attract who we are. That's why when we say we attract who we are, people who are thinking or maybe uh, believing the same kinds of things that we do, and somehow exactly that that kind of an attraction would make us really um, meet all these people who are supposed to now be in front of us. The question is, how come many of the people I get to meet, I don't like them? And that's another big question we have to address because many times you blame the other person about why there's something, or if there's something wrong with that other person, because you see the other person exactly not like what you want them to be. And so the question here is, who is, I mean, who's on the wrong side here? Them or maybe you? Because as I've said, there's nothing wrong with what you see outside because you created everything. You attracted everyone to be there at the present moment. So if you don't like them, and sabi mo, buisit kasi yan eh. Alam ko bakit yan. Maybe they are not the one who is buisit. Maybe you are the one who is nabibuisit sa sarili mong buhay. That's why you get to attract the same kinds of people. So
Mhm.
that's exactly how we create. What we create inside, we create outside. So
Mhm.
I need to explain this. Like for example, if I am really hot-headed or mad, or had a quarrel, and then I start driving my car, and while driving, I maintain that emotion of anger,
Mhm.
what will happen? Do you think I will have a nice time driving? I might meet an accident because I might just create another person who is on that same level of consciousness as at
Correct.
that moment. And the moment we get to really get into an accident, sabihin natin, eh, it's his fault. And the other one would say, no, it's your fault. But actually, again, it's our own fault. We created it. That's what people don't know.
You
They
tune into
think
that
that the
vibration.
accidents happen. There are no accidents. Yes, there are no accidents in the universe. It's all synchronized. In other words,
Mhm.
according to who you are. So be very careful as to how you are feeling at the moment when you're, especially when you're driving.
Yep.
So again, we are creating that kind of a world outside. The akala natin, wala tayong responsibility to that. Actually, we are responsible to that world because we created that world. So why are you not happy with what you are creating? There's something wrong with you, and that's where we
Mm-hmm.
need to understand that you need to that you need to create a new world first. So again, so that's already outside. Now the thing here is, okay, maybe I mean I don't need to explain that. I think it's already understood by many. Now the thing here is talking about a new Earth. That's another world that we are now creating, the fifth dimension. In other words, we are now living a third dimensional world where we are presently staying, or some or many of us are in that kind of a particular dimension. But there is a shift that's going on right now, and by 2026, that shift is going to be more pronounced, more, I would say, felt by everyone. That there's a change already, and so what will happen here is those who are able to get to that fifth dimension, or those who are able to now evolve to a higher dimension, would see a different world. I mean, a different timeline for them. And those who will be left on, I mean, in this third dimensional world, still would continue living in misery, in that kind of a problematic state. So again, we have to warn people now that there is such a thing as this shifting of the earth that's going on right now. It's the creation now of different worlds that we are going to really see. And a lot of the institutions that we know, especially the government, financial institution, the educational system, the church, the religion, they're all now collapse. They are now starting to crumble. And what is now really being, I would say, felt by people right now. I mean, the corruption. I mean, this is a collapse of government already that we're now seeing. So, how long are we going to be able to still say, yes, we have to maintain them because we need them? Actually, by next year, you might not see them anymore. We already have a new form of government, maybe. So that's what exactly
Yes.
that's what I need to explain to people, that we are now shifting to a new world as well, collect, collectively, because many of us already have chosen or decided to already evolve to a higher level of consciousness. And so when we have already decided on that, that means we are now already living the third dimension and going to the fifth dimension as well. Before I continue, you might want to add to that so that we can explain it more explicitly.
Yes, I do wanted to mention something with the statement that you just mentioned just now, that we decided beforehand um, what's going to happen to our life. So just keep that in mind, because when you know that that's that's actually what happened, then you won't be so stressful anymore. Okay, because everybody, before they came in this lifetime, you had a discussion with the higher beings of how you're gonna of how you want to experience life here. So whether you want to believe it or not, whatever you are experiencing, you chose to experience that. Just like what Kuya Tato was explaining earlier, you created that because you wanted to experience what it is, whatever it is that you want to experience. Now we meet people. Okay, so he mentioned earlier that we meet people, and it's because it's a reflection of our vibration. But there's another story with that. It's not always the case because, for example, like for me, I question the same thing. Like, I'm a good person. Why did I attract that person? Right. So, and through meditation, what I gather from it is because there's a lesson that I need to be learned in that circumstances. And so is the other person. You got to keep that in mind that there's no accident in this world. There's always a reason why we're meeting people. There's always a reason why we're having to experience circumstances, hardships, suffering. There's always a lesson. You have to keep that in mind. And until we learn that certain lesson that we wanted to learn, it's going to keep repeating. And sometimes before we can even learn the lesson, it's already end of this lifetime. So we're Kuya Tato and we're really working hard here to, expand your consciousness so that when you know these things that's not taught in school or church, then you can expand your consciousness and think, oh yeah, so I created this. So before I came in this lifetime, I already figured out how my life will be. Yes, you have. And you always have support. You're always guided. You're always protected. The thing is, you forgot all of that. You don't remember any of that. But now I'm going to remind you that you always have support. You're always guided. You're always protected, and you cannot go wrong. Okay. Now, if you decide to to experience something and it's not turning out the way you wanted it to turn out, just remember what is the lesson that is meant for you to learn there. And then you take that with you and try and learn that, in this lifetime so that you don't carry that over in the next one. That's the thing. We always have to keep evolving because that's part of why we're here, right? We're here to experience things. We're not here to suffer. No, we're not here to suffer. We're here
Correct.
to be happy. We're here to have the best life. Because the thing is, you are, like I don't know if I how you're gonna take this, but you have access to everything. You have divine right.
Exactly.
It's your birthright. You're not meant to be in lack, in scarcity. No. But the thing is, your mind
Okay.
is telling you that. That's why it's like, that's why you are experiencing these things. So that's what I wanted to say on that. Well, that's what I want to add on what Kuya Tats was saying. So basically, it's been decided already how your life is going to be here. And it's not by accident that you're listening to this. This video might be your trigger. This might be the reason why you're listening to this video. So for you to remember.
Okay. Okay. Maybe, okay, I'll pick it up from what you said that uh, your life has been decided already. I suppose, okay, we have to now backtrack and go back to that time before we were born. Remember, we are first spiritual beings having a human experience. Originally, who we are not a human being in terms of our physicality. We are really spiritual beings. And so, being said, I mean, having said that, if you are aware of the fact that you came from somewhere else before you came here in this world to become a human being, there was a plan. All right, this is what people don't know. Nobody had taught this in terms of in in schools or in church or even by you actually have a plan, a soul's plan, a soul contract. What do we mean by that? Before we came here, we were somehow guided by spiritual guide. we want to actually accomplish or to do when we incarnate to Earth. I don't know if people are aware of that, but again, this is what we teach in Kamalayan. So if you are aware of that, that you already have a soul contract in terms of your agreement with your guides as to what family you are going to be born into. Remember, we always say you chose your parents. So I think many people already accept that fact that we chose our parents. So when we chose our parents, when was that time when we chose them? Not when we already were babies. I mean, before we became babies. So before we were even conceived, before even our parents met, I'm sure we already chose already that we agreed in the soul on the soul level that we are going to meet here on earth, and they would welcome us the moment we are born, and they will actually take care of us. And we agreed to have that kind of a commitment. So we chose our parents. So why did you choose your parents? That's a very good question. So maybe you want to experience things that that particular parent of yours will be able to provide you in terms of what you want to accomplish in this particular lifetime. So that's exactly why we are able to really uh, accept the fact that we are not here accidentally. Nobody gets to be born just like that. In terms of, sabi nga nung iba bakit ba ako pinanganak sa pamilyang ito? You know, they actually have that kind of a resentment, you know.
Yeah.
But if they know that, if they learn that, hey, you chose them. I mean, but you're regretting it. You actually chose them. I mean, a lot of families, especially children, would make such statements of, "What? Hey, I hate my parents. I hate my family. I hate why was I born in this particular time?" And so, if they only understand that they chose this particular those two parents of Maya they that they actually agreed to be born into. So anyway, you know, as a matter of fact, we need to be able to really make, I would say, a tribute to our, especially to our mother, because being a mother, to agree to conceive you, I mean, you know, labor pain is different. I mean, it's not easy to actually experience in terms of, you know, okay, if you'll be born on, I mean, in my tummy. I mean, you come out from my tummy, and then you come out from me. I mean, I will experience something not easily enjoyable. I mean, not not. I mean, I would say it's really painful at first, but then again, that's why we need to really give that kind of thanks or thank you to our parents, especially to our mother, because they agreed to take us in. And many of those people who feel that, well, they didn't, they're not exactly happy as to be born in this world. Well, I don't know. I mean, but exactly, that's not exactly why you came here. I mean, before you came here, you agreed, and somebody agreed to take you in. So at this point in time, maybe if you're aware now, you have to say thank you. Okay, for bringing you in out in this world rather. All right. So if you have that kind of an experience of choosing our parents, our country, the world, the place in the planet Earth where we are going to be born into, I mean, everything was planned. So that's where, sabi mo nga, destiny. I mean, decided. This is where we decided already as to what we wanted to do in our life. Because we chose everything. We created already everything according to what we want to experience in this particular lifetime. But the real problem was we were given free will. Once we were born, we forgot everything that we agreed upon. And so there was nothing to accept, I mean to remember. And we accepted rather the indoctrination of our schools, our government, our media, our society, our parents, our family. What they told us became our beliefs. We forgot exactly why we came here, what we came here for. So now, since we forgot everything, that is where our life now becomes complicated. That's why we get to see a lot of people not understanding the fact that, they have the kind of power. They're not just weak, they're not just human beings. They are very powerful in terms of who they are because they are spiritual beings. They are godly. They are creative. We can create practically everything that we want to create and have everything that we want to have. But since we were brought out or brought up with that kind of uh, feeling of lack, not having anything or not having everything that we want, that started practically our I would say travel. I mean our choices where we made. I mean the choices that we made to make ourselves survive in this world. We thought we were just here to survive. We thought that we were just here to suffer. We thought we were just here to get. I mean to just um, endure this particular lifetime and not enjoy life because we were even told that the happiness that we're looking for is not here but in heaven. But the problem is you already came from heaven and then you came back here and then what do you mean you're not going to experience what you're supposed to experience here on earth because somehow we were told that we were just human beings and we were going to get sick and going to suffer and just wait for us to die so that that's the only time we'll be able to experience that kind of happiness that we're aspiring to have. And so that's what people believe in. So in this world, they don't have any ambition as to what they want to make out in this world to, to, to achieve more, to become more, to, to enjoy more. They think this world is here for them to, to just, you know, serve other people and to suffer. But again, that is the most, I would say, stupid thing to really understand about who we are. Because, as I've said, we are not here just for that. We are here to enjoy heaven on earth already, as what Jesus said. The kingdom of God is here on earth already. So why are we not living in that kind of heavenly uh, uh, situation or atmosphere? So that's exactly our problem at this point in time. We have to make people aware of the fact that now physically the earth is already heaven because the shift that we are now experiencing is this shift of really on a higher level of consciousness. So if we don't make people be aware of that, people will still stay on the third dimensional level where they are going to be controlled by authorities, especially by those in the religious orders, the government, and the workplace. So practically, you will just be a slave all throughout your life. That's not the kind of world that we're supposed to be living in. And that's exactly why we're trying to open the eyes of people to the fact that we are more than just human beings. We are really spiritual beings having a human experience. And exactly, we came here to do to experience the best things in life, not to just suffer. So why are we now thinking that that's the only choice we have? That's not the only choice we have. We have a lot of choices. So maybe you can add to that. I think we already have taken so much time with the first quality.
We have
So
uh we have 10 more minutes to the hour. So
we have 10 more minutes.
if you want to
You have
add,
something to add?
no, I don't have anything to add. You can continue.
Okay, so in other words, this is exactly why I'm here explaining Kamalayan to people because we really are already in heaven. Why are we not experiencing heaven? Why are we not happy with the way we live our life in this particular world that we created? Remember, we created everything. It's not being done to us. It's actually we doing it on our own. And that is what we need to make make people understand that every one of us are creating our own worlds, different worlds. But again, as I've said, you are the only one who would be able to dictate as to how that world will be like in terms of how you live it. That's why people need to understand that our consciousness really would is the one that creates our reality. Everything that you believe in, everything that you're thinking of, our thoughts, our uh, emotions, that would actually, contribute to the kind of life that we are now experiencing. So why are you choosing the negative things when in fact the best things in life are free, right? So why are you now
Absolutely.
sticking in a partner who you think is the worst person that you can be with at this particular time? I
Kuya
mean,
Tato, this video is
yeah,
not meant to create any animosity among partners. I just want to make that clear.
well, again, it's your choice
we
again. I
just
mean, you
we're
created
just
that.
trying to expand your consciousness.
You attracted those people into your life. So why are you complaining about the other person? When in fact, the only person that you can change is yourself. That's why if you don't understand that, you'll keep on complaining about other people. You will not be able to get along well with other people because you
Yeah,
cannot even get along with yourself first.
yeah.
It's your own world, your inner world that you have to be able to contain. And the moment you're able now to see everything perfectly, that's why the 20 qualities would contribute to that kind of world that we want to have. Unless
Since you
we, yes,
since you mentioned about relationship, I mean there's a download that I just wanted to share. So for couples who are and we're seeing this now more so now because people are just fed up and they just wanted to make some changes in their life. So when they're not happy with their relationship, mostly they come up with many reasons uh why they cannot be separated. Well, I'm challenging you now to find a way to to justify why it's good to be separated, and I'll add one to that list
huh?
because I'm gonna
You're
add
asking me?
one. No. I'm gonna add one to that list as to why you
Okay,
should
okay.
make that shift. Because, okay, for example, you're feeling guilty of making that decision to be separated, right? But the thing is, you might not know that your partner might be thinking of the same thing.
Exactly.
You might be worried, having this guilt, having this shame. The thing is, relationships happen because there's a contract there. Again, Kuya Tato talks about soul contract earlier. There's a contract. You made a contract with that person because you're meant to learn lesson and many other ways that you want to experience with that person. But that doesn't mean that you're stuck with that person. If you're not happy with that person, you tried everything with that person, and nothing is working out, you have to make a decision for yourself. You cannot feel, you cannot be feeling guilty. You cannot be feeling shame because the bottom line is you're not happy. And that vibration is so low, and when you stay in that vibration, you're never gonna get out of it. You'll feel depressed, you feel anxious, you feel agitated, you feel resentment. And you know how that's gonna manifest? Sickness. You're gonna have critical illness because
Yeah.
of that negative emotions that bottling up, that's accumulating for many, many decades. Do you want to get sick or you want to stay with your partner unhappy?
It's a good
That's
thing
your
if you only
choice.
get sick. It's a good thing if you only get sick. What if you cannot come out alive from that relationship?
That's true. So a lot of people, I mean, I'm gonna just link this to our mental health conversation because a lot of people are depressed. They feel that they have no choice, but they do. The
They
thing
do.
is, this is the trick. The moment that you make that hard decision, you will see that the universe, the divine God source creator is gonna step in to protect you, to support you, because you made that very, very difficult decision in your life. But that's not going to happen until you make that hard decision. So you have to make that decision because no one else will do that for you. You
Mm.
have to. So make that decision. Whatever it is that makes you happy, you have to do it because when you're happy, you're in a higher vibration. You attract the situations, the people who are vibing the same as you. People who are happy like you.
Yeah. Okay, to add to that, you know, that's why a lot of people complain, why am I attracting the same people? I would actually get out of this relationship, but another relationship is actually the same thing that would give me the same problems. I mean, okay, what's that? Unless you change your consciousness on that level, you will only attract people on that particular level. So even if you change physically every person that you get to have a relationship with, the next person is someone exactly the same again. Unless you change, you will not be able to change the other person that you would want to attract. That's the real secret there. That's why a lot of
Yep.
people say, ano ba naman ang malas ko? Palagi na lang ganito ako, yung nakukuha ko ganitong klase. Kasi that's who you are. See, I mean, the moment you know the secret of Kamalayan, I mean, you can really now change first yourself, and then you can see a different person walking by, and wow, this is different. So again, as I said, you attract who you are. So don't blame the other person. If you don't like the person, that means you
Yep.
don't like. There's something in you that you don't like. That's the
Yep.
real secret there. So you have to change it. That's why people say, paano na ako? Wala naman akong makitang ibang tao na kasi my one and only love. Look at that. My one and only love left me. My God. I mean, the only love that you have to love, the only person that you have to love is yourself.
You, yourself.
Exactly, you. And then practically everyone else is just going to be. That's why I had more than 60 girls. So, I mean, so I was in love with myself. And so when I saw all of them, oh, I love them.
Yeah, it's not selfish to love yourself.
The only thing now is that's why I have a hard time looking for a girl because you know I am not anymore the same Tato as what I used to be in my past because before I wasn't concerned about the kind of consciousness that the other person has. I mean, somehow, I mean, now I'm more particular as to wow, what kind of a girl is she like? I mean, if maybe she's not going to really give me that kind of relationship that I want, wag na lang, ayoko na. But again, as I've said, why am I going to judge? I mean, I am already going to judge myself supposedly. So I'm open still. So
Maybe one of the viewer will watch this video and connect with you, Kuya Tato.
that's why when people ask me, bakit kayo wala ka ng girlfriend? Ano ka na, dipihikan ka na? Yun na nga eh. Natakot ako na magkaroon kasi sabi ko baka this might not turn out again the way I want it because as I've said, if I am not on that level of consciousness that is going to make me happy, the person I'm going to attract is someone who's not really going to really make me happy in terms of what will happen. So I have to fix myself again. So I started to fix myself.
Correct.
Now I've fixed myself completely. I think I'm more than prepared. So anytime to help whoever is there that I am going to really now, be paired with. I mean, I will not say no to that anymore. I hope the other person also doesn't say no. Because
Uh,
then I think I have something higher to offer now, not any more problems, not like before.
mhm. So just just want to add something to that. No, we have to be ready. We have to be whole. We
You
have to
have to
be
be whole.
whole
That's why
before we
before,
can even
mm,
before you can invite anybody in your life. Because if you're not whole, you have nothing to give, right? You have to first love yourself because otherwise, if you don't know how to love yourself, how can the other people know how to love you if you don't even
yeah,
know how to love yourself? So make sure
before, before
practice
kasi
self-love.
we actually would go into a relationship to find someone to complete us. That's the most common mistake that people actually do. I want that person to complete me. What do you mean to complete you? That means you're not complete. So
You're affirming that you're not complete.
that's the whole problem. That's where the problem would really get to start again.
Yep.
I mean, once because you have to
Yeah,
be whole first. You don't
exactly.
lack. You don't lack anything. You don't look for something from the other person. The only thing that you will do for the other person is to make that other person happy. That's all. Support the other person. Accept the other person. Don't try to change the other person. And somehow, that's the best kind of a relationship one can have because there are no expectations. I mean,
When
that's
you're
why
having,
that's why with animals, hindi ba? I mean, what do you expect from a dog? I mean,
mhm,
a dog actually loves us unconditionally, and
mhm.
we don't expect much from our dog because basically we know they're dogs. So we accept them as what they are. And then we really love them so much because, we really take care of them because we know exactly why they are like that and we have accepted that. And that's exactly what we have to do with people as well. Accept only everything, accept everything. Not trying to change. You cannot try to change a dog. I mean, the dog will always be the same dog. Maybe you can train it with some tricks, but the dog will still remain as who it is. But again, so we have mahaba pa ito pag-uusapan natin. 19 more. So this is just the first one. Again, the first one is we have a Kamalayan learner uh, knows has a vision of a new world. So we have to see a new world inside us first before we can create a new world outside. So with
Correct.
that, I'd like to siguro end this already. We have got overtime already.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So this is a good segue. We cannot start point number two because that's gonna take a whole new hour. So we're
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and do this again next week. Um, and then we go from there. Again, thank you, Kuya Tato, for your time this afternoon.
With the
I
others,
had fun.
mas mabilis yung iba kasi mas maiksi ang explanation. This one, kind of complicated to explain it explicitly.
Yeah, and this is actually a good start because we covered a lot of things with just that point one.
Yeah.
And it sets
Point.
the tone to the
Yeah.
rest of the qualities of Kamalayan because they have to understand this first. They have to
Yeah.
understand where they're from, their soul
To
contract.
create our world.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good that we covered this as the first point, and then it would set the tone for the rest of the 19 qualities of a Kamalayan learner. All right, so I'll see you next week.
Next week
Thank
again.
you again for your
See you.
time. Until next time, thank you for watching. I hope you
Thank
guys
you.
learned something.